Hey guys, good evening, and it is finally 8 p.m. and it looks like I am on time. I don't know where the rest of you are, but clearly please ignore all the guests in the background. These are all the important people in my life that come and go, but I've just told everyone to be quiet until, hey, oh, awesome. Now we certainly have people coming in, and I'm sorry that we had to postpone it from Sunday to today, but I figured, at least people here in Chennai are in lockdown, so I figured we'd have a lot of people attending. And hi Shriyanka. Hi Shriyanka, how are you doing? I hope everyone is doing fabulously today because I am super excited about our guest tonight, and that is Mr. Souvik Roy, who will be joining us shortly. And I actually told him to be a little fashionably late so I could do an introduction, and he is a phenomenal person and he will be telling you all about himself, but I'll give you guys a little bit of an update as to what we're going to be talking about today. I mean, we have the law and we have what we think we understand about the law. But I think what's really important for women these days is to understand how we are perceived by the law and how the law perceives us and what rights we actually have or don't have. And Souvik is the man to talk about it. So he's going to be coming on shortly and telling us what his opinions are about women and their status under the Indian Penal Code at this point in time. And of course, it is a very, very rife subject, a vibrant subject, and definitely a controversial subject. But you know me, I don't shy away from things that require discussion or debate. So thank you, Sharath. Nice to see you. It's been a while. And I will just wait till, how do you guys like this? I just tried something new with my hair today, so hopefully y'all like it. My hair is finally growing out, thank God. And so I get to do something different for all of you, because just wearing it in the same way is like so boring. Yes, Dreamy Gal, nice to have you. I am waiting for, now we just have to wait for Mr. Roy to join us. And until then, so you guys tell me, how are you doing? Is everyone staying safe and masking up and not getting into trouble? Put your hands up if you agree with me, or at least if you are behaving yourself. That would be good to know. Yes, hey, Dreamy Gal. So, okay, Roy, I think you can go ahead and request me, or I will go ahead and request you, and we can get the show on the road. Yep. Let's. Okay, we have a few people with us, and we will just waiting for Roy to join us, and so excited to have this conversation. In fact, we've been planning it for about over a month now, and just waiting for the right time to bring it to all of you, and hoping you all will participate. We're going to be going through his content. I have a ton of questions, and I really hope all of you come in with a lot of questions, because this is a subject that definitely, is prone to a lot of debate. So, Roy, we are waiting for you to join us. Hopefully your connection is okay. Sally Pandian, hi. I have not seen you in a while. Roy, I'm going to request you again. Hopefully we will not have any technical glitches. Ankit Sahai, hi. Hi, Ronnie. Good to see you. The thing is, I mean, if you had me get started, I would start telling you all that he told me yesterday, but I don't want to steal his thunder. So which is why we are waiting for him to join. Arshia, hi, how are you? And guys, please don't hesitate to participate. We definitely want tons of you guys to participate. Om, good to see you. Really glad you could make it this evening. I know you are an extremely busy man, even though you facilitate a lot of things. Oh, Sally, in fact, you and I should be doing an Insta Live very soon. I don't know why we haven't yet. In fact, luckily, I have Mr. Manik with me, who's in the house, so he says hello as well. We are having a small, I'm going to go ahead and request, Om, hearts right back to you. Hey, Mr. Roy has finally joined us. I was getting worried there. I was a little worried for you.
Oh, I myself was worried for myself, but so good to see. I'm really sorry for the technical glitch and error. I'm really sorry to keep you waiting for that. I think we're just a little bit haywire.
No problem. We have a lot of people waiting to hear what you and me have to say. So I have been doing my best not to give away all of our secrets from yesterday. So I figured I would have you do the honors. So guys, thank you all for tuning in. We have about 25 people, so I don't think there's any reason to wait even for one more minute. So I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Souvik Roy introduce himself, give us a little bit of background, and let everyone know what we're going to be talking about today. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, a very big hi to Anjali. I've been such a big admirer of yours. So yeah, that's there, besides being the friend that you are. And yeah, and a big hi to everyone who's there right now. I can, of course, see a few of my old pals from the student community, etc., etc. And yeah, so people who do not know me, for them, this is Souvik Roy. I hail from Calcutta, so I'm basically a law person who's also a foreign education entrepreneur, and I help students, guide students rather in getting them to various places. And yeah, I've been teaching law for the longest time, and with NLUO and then KIIT Bhubaneswar, and then subsequently we have a startup of our own as well. So that's in very brief, that's what I do, and I've been doing for the longest time. And yeah.
Super. So that is, in fact, a very good, very crisp, and because we have a lot to get through today. So, Souvik, I was telling, I have, as you know, and you and I have been friends for a while now, and you know that I stand very much for women empowerment, women in leadership, women embracing identity in the pursuit of excellence, and that has been kind of the backbone of my own life story and what I tend to advocate for all of my friends, followers, the students that I talk to, the other women in leadership. So I think the reason our topic today is so important is you were mentioning to me that women don't really understand where we stand in the eyes of the law and how the law perceives us. So that was kind of what I was hoping to hear from you today, to perhaps be empowered as a woman myself, and so my community, viewers and people who follow what we're going to be talking about today, if we can kind of understand a little bit better about how the law treats us.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting area of the law to begin with. Now, like we discussed before, that the audience that we are catering to this evening, they're not only from law background, but people from varied backgrounds. So therefore, what we have decided mutually was that we'll keep the law in its place, but try to get more real and more in context of a layman's term understanding of the area.
Of course.
And in addition to that, so basically what we are looking here is more than the law, how a woman has been represented in the penal laws.
Right.
And we were sticking to the penal laws because it's more invigorating, more interesting. Of course, there is a civil law aspect as well with Hindu Succession Act and Special Marriage Act and so many other things. So probably we can touch upon that if time permits, but then that's secondary. Now, you know what? So when you talk about penal laws, we talk about crime.
Right.
Now, so the moment, Anjali, if I tell you that, you have committed a crime, you are a criminal. Say, for instance, I'm telling you that, I'm alleging you that, you are a criminal. So what is it that comes to your mind that, okay, so I've done a mistake, I've done an error. So what to us is crime? The crime is very simple, that we do an act, and that act is backed by a mala fide intent, an intent which is not in good faith, in simpler terms. And as I said, there's a legal jargon to it. Mens rea, actus reus, and actus non facit reum nisi mens rea. So we're not getting into all of that. And so as on a very basic plane, we're going to discuss. Now, the most interesting part about this entire penal laws is how women has been treated since time immemorial. All right. So we're born to a mother. Of course, I'm a single child, but that's besides the point. I have my cousins, so I have my sisters, of course. And so in various forms, you encounter women in your life.
Sure.
Be it me, be it you, be it anyone. So that's there. And they are the integral part. Like, a house without a woman is not a house. That cannot be. Like, that vacuum that...
Please, yeah.
Yeah, so that presence is immense. But you were talking about the presence of a human being by gender, quote unquote, who is a woman, a female. But then when you look into the law and you are, pun intended, astonished, pun intended, to see that, they're not even treated as human beings for that matter in a certain ways. So why I tell you this is, on the face of it, there is this Indian constitution, and our constitution says that, we're a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic, and all of that. And there is equity, equality before the law, and there has to be gender justice. There should be special provisions made under Article 15.3 for women, for their protection, and so many things are there.
Right.
But that's besides the point. But how much are we really following it in its very teeth? Are we really doing? There is work. There is good work. There have been a lot of enactment that are there. In fact, I did a little bit of research for that matter to just, read of a few, especially for those who are totally from a non-law background, Of course, the Indian Constitution being the law that it is, the mother law of the nation. So there is Domestic Violence Act. There is Indecent Representation of Women's Act. There is Dowry Prohibition. There is Equal Remuneration Act, Hindu Succession, Medical Termination of Pregnancy, and so on and so forth. And of course, sexual harassment of women at workplace with all this hashtag #MeToo movement, etc. So all of that are there. But when you look into the substantive penal law of the country, what is very something that can be noted is women has often been treated as a chattel. A property, a movable property. Now, why do I say that? So, sorry, yeah, Anjali, please tell me.
No, I'm sorry. We have somebody who is asking for if you can throw some light on unconstitutional adultery law and Section 498A with Arnesh Kumar. I will keep that till later, but I just wanted to let you know that we have some questions coming in. It sounds like all your fans are logging on now. So,
yeah.
But please, my question about when you say women as what? What was that word you used?
Women as a property.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So no, I think we should not wait for that. Rather, I'll take that up. Why? Because somebody spoke about, since they talk about 497. Now, again, like I said, we'll keep it not very law oriented and keep it very simple. So Anjali.
Roy, again, for you, I'm going to read out the question. It said, sir, please throw some light on the unconstitutional adultery law and Section 498A with regards to Arnesh Kumar.
So now what happens is, when it comes to 497 and this entire provisions that he's talking about, 497 has been decriminalized. Now, if I ask you in very simple terms, you understand what is adultery. Everybody does. Right? We all know what adultery is. So just tell me, what do you feel? You're not from a law background, right? So what is your understanding of adultery? What do you understand by adultery? The word adultery.
It is if I'm married to you, for example, and then I cheat on you, that's adultery, right?
Okay. No, that is fine. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.
Oh, it's absolutely
now.
Which one is that? It's absolutely fine. That's the description.
But when you look into the law, you'll find it's been put forth in a very different manner altogether. Now, why do I say that? For adultery to happen, I mean, before, when the law was there, one of the famous cases is B. Revati versus Union of India. It got subsequently turned down by this famous case of Joseph Shine. So anyway, so now coming back, so what happens is, for adultery, there are few important parameters that are there that must happen. Okay, without that, you cannot put that particular act or the series of act within the bracket of the section. Now, why do I say that? Sexual intercourse is a must, number one. Number two, the person who is getting into the act of sexual intercourse is the wife.
Okay.
Number three, of course, the wife gets into an act of sexual intercourse outside the realm of marriage.
Okay.
So there are three parties here: the husband, the wife, and the third person.
Correct.
So the husband and the wife, they form the marital institution.
Right.
Like we call it in India, that marriage is an institution for whatever reasons. That's a different thing whether I agree or disagree to it. Of course, I don't. But then that's a different point altogether. But they say that marriage is an institution. It's a nuptial rights. It's a marital home. That's it.
Okay.
Now, what follows next is, when the woman gets into the act of sexual intercourse outside the marriage, in very simple terms, it is adultery. Fair enough. There is no problem to that otherwise. But tell me something, if the husband gets into a sexual intercourse outside the realm of marriage, is it not adultery?
Of course it is. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, of course. I mean, according to me, it is.
According to every person or a common man with a little bit of logic and common sense, of course it is.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the law, just to let you know. And it was there for, it was there for the longest time like that, until it got recently overturned in the section, because there is a ground for divorce for this.
Yeah.
Now, this is one aspect. So you are talking, so for adultery to happen, this is one aspect that, this has to be this case wherein the wife gets into sexual intercourse. Nobody talks about whether the husband gets into a sexual intercourse or not. Now, number two, in that same provision that the gentleman has come up with, it also mentions that if, not in express terms, all right, I'm just giving you a gist. If a wife gets into a sexual intercourse with a third party or a third person, with the consent of the husband says, you're my beloved wife, I love you so much, please go and sleep around with someone else. Just saying.
Okay.
Then in that case, it is not an adultery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is extremely, I mean, okay. But how will you, I have a question here though. How will you prove now, assuming I'm just saying, okay, like, I'm married to you, you give me permission, and now how do we prove that you gave permission or you didn't?
Okay, now this is something, this cannot be just
I'm just like wondering, you can
no, so therefore how to prove is something that is a deliberation in the court of law. Okay. Now, as per section 192 of CRPC also, it was said, so the basic understanding of adultery was, it is an offense by a man against another man. So here, the woman doesn't exist at all. The existence of woman as an individual in a crime is totally gone. So because what happens is, if the woman takes the permission of the man, of the husband, so basically woman doesn't have an entity of her own.
And
if the husband says,
out in the beginning, because I wanted to kind of stick with that progression. So you were saying that the woman under the law is more of an object than an individual with her own rights, volitions, and choice. Is that
Right.
okay? Okay.
So therefore, what happens is when it comes to that area, so what you're making essentially a woman is basically a puppet. The husband says, go sleep, you're fine. The husband doesn't consent to it, it's a crime. And most importantly, if the husband does the same, you can opt for a divorce under the civil law, but you cannot do anything else. Probably you can bring it under the ambit of cheating and under the penal laws. That's about it on the substantive laws. So now, my point here is like the discussion, because this is the movement that you're so progressively thinking about, and taking it with far reaches with your programs and everything. So therefore, this is very weird, and that too in a state, in a country which is now progressed to 2021. Of course, the law is not anymore there. But having said that,
how recently was overturned, Roy? If you can just
couple of years back. Yeah. It was quite recent. This 21 to 2020 was COVID. Yeah, around 2019 or 18 something. Like
then telling me that it was only adultery for a woman and it was just all chill for a guy.
Yeah. But then, so in V. Revati versus Union of India, the logic that was given was the husband and the wife should not strike each other with the weapon of criminal law. So they're apparently in a marital institution. So that third person is the person who is breaching that institution. So the husband is the victim here.
Oh my God.
The husband is a victim, and therefore the husband will file a case against that another man who is the third person.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the Britishers, when they came up with this law, the Britishers being Britishers, I mean, no wonder Shashi Tharoor made that statement in the Oxford University that, no wonder that the sun never set in the British Empire, because God couldn't trust the Englishman in the dark. So their entire rule was euphemistic. The entire rule was basically a total euphemism in its very essence of ruling, like the colonizers, they did what they did to India. Okay. Now, therefore, they said that, women in Britain, France, and other parts of Europe, they have this entire, their rights are much more open, they have got much more kind of validity in the society, etc. It's not male-dominated per se. And therefore, what they try to do essentially is that, to lift the women and then say that the woman is not a criminal here, even if the woman gets into this thing. So that's the other part of the story, you see.
Right.
When the woman is getting into a sexual intercourse with the other person, the woman is not the criminal. That's one point. And also the woman is not even the abater.
Is she then just a tool or an object? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly my point is. So just imagine post 2000, 2018, 2019, this law was there as one of the major laws in our country, and it took so much time and effort to change this. Now no wonder that 377, like we're discussing the other evening, how same sex and this thing, it becomes so difficult. I mean, look at Sabrimala and cases like in civil law cases, say for instance, there have been n number of instances. The Hadia incident that happened. There was this lady in Coimbatore. She was a 24-year-old. She was a medical student in Coimbatore, and her name was Akhila or Arushi something. Akhila, I believe, I suppose. And what happened was she converted to Islam to get married to a guy who was professing Islam. I'm forgetting the name, Shamin or something, the name of the guy.
Already married to somebody else? Is that why she converted to Islam, or what?
Yeah. She converted to Islam because of this thing. And then there was this entire furor all across India that, this is love jihad and how can someone do this? And then the court came into the picture. The girl's parents came into the picture. They say that, she was being coerced into this marriage and they were forcefully being made to change the religion, etc. But then at the age of 24, there was this NIA which came into the picture, National Investigation Agency. And then they said that, there's nothing like coercion or anything like that. And come on, for a woman, 24-year-old in this day, age and generation, can't she decide on her own? Forget about a woman, a man, woman, a person, quote unquote. Can't she decide on her own? Even the, the funny part is the penal laws. At times, there were quite a few acts used to be, and probably it's there. I'm a little bit off touch after coming into my business, this entrepreneurship venture. They used to define another general clauses, man, and then they used to say that, this man would also mean woman, and therefore it would be treated simultaneously. I mean, and then there is another provision called person, and that person will be that a person can be a juristic person or a person with a company, etc., to bring in the white-collar crimes and into the picture and bring it under the ambit of the penal laws. So yeah, so there has been so much this thing in this. So now you understand, right? The entire element of the woman being this marital subordination, subjugated.
Got it. Yeah. No. Now it's making much more sense. Yeah.
So that's one area. Then I was just looking into the flowchart. Then coming back, this rape. I mean,
yes.
You look into the rape laws.
Subject, Roy. I mean, I was going to request you to come to this, because this is where I think there's a lot of confusion as to what qualifies as rape and what doesn't, and what rights do we have in this scenario. So please take it away.
Yeah. So now let me tell you. So I'll not get into the law first. What I would essentially do is, of course, you're aware of this gentleman called Mohammad Farooqi, this director into theater, which was associated with the movie People Life. Yeah. So there was this intern who had come from US probably, and she was doing her internship with him and etc. And probably in the course of this, they probably developed some kind of feelings or attachment, or maybe something more casual, no strings attached, whatsoever it is. So, and they kind of encountered some personal, close, intimate moments. Now, suddenly there was a situation that cropped up wherein the woman, the lady, she alleged the gentleman, the filmmaker, for the charges of rape. Now, sorry?
Nothing. I just said, ooh, that's it.
Oh, yeah, obviously, right. So now what happens is, once the charge was put forth, so there was this court proceedings and everything, and there was this very insane, outrageous, whimsical decision given by the honorable court, when the court said that no means a yes. I repeat, no means yes. Now, in this day and age, after Amitabh Bachchan, the legendary actor Amitabh Bachchan acted in this movie Pink, and no means no became.
Yeah.
So prior to that, so what happened was, so she alleged the man for the charges of rape. Now, rape is basically when somebody engages into a sexual intercourse with someone without that person's consent.
Right.
So at the end of the day, let's get it very straight. It's all about consent. Even if someone is a sex worker, she has the right to choose whom to and whom not to get into or indulge into a carnal intercourse or relationship with. That's a very blatant understanding. Because that person is a sex worker doesn't mean anyone who is coming who has the capacity to pay that amount of money. Sorry for my phrase here, but I can't put it like a lingo. So doesn't mean that person is eligible or entitled, or that there is this element of quote unquote male entitlement.
Yeah.
Or objectifying by way of consumerism as a consumable good that I am paying, and therefore I need that. This is not a mobile phone, for heaven's sake, that you just pay and you get the phone and you start calling. No.
Right.
Because she's a woman, and therefore as a woman, the mobile phone will not tell you that, hey, listen, Anjali, I don't want to go out with
you. Right.
So my point is, when it comes to a woman, that woman might not be comfortable, maybe doesn't find that person attractive enough. Maybe she's done for that if she doesn't want to get indulged. So just the designation. So now coming back, this designation of sex worker, even she has the right to choose to with whom or whom not to.
Right.
So therefore, similarly, on the same plane, consent being such an important factor, today, if somebody says yes, the next day doesn't mean the person will again say yes. It can be a no.
It can be, yes, absolutely.
Very much. So, and all this characterization that this man or this woman has gone out and slept with someone, and therefore this is this. No, this is a free world. This is a free society. The Constitution gives us that particular authentication as human beings with a human dignity, right to life and liberty, that I have my own physical bodily autonomy, and I can use it the way I would like to use it, with whom I would like to use it. That's my personal preference, my personal choice, and there is no one else to dictate terms to me. That's my morality, because morality is very subjective.
Correct, it is.
So therefore, in this case, so probably that point of time, the woman did not want to engage in any kind of sexual intercourse and carnal relationship on that very day. And so this lady came, and the man was broken down, like he was crying, he was going through some kind of a low in his life, and he had a discord in his marital home. And this lady came at around 9 p.m. and she was trying to make him feel good and etc. And that is when suddenly this man pounced upon her, and as per the statement, he kissed her at every places and tried to do all the things. I mean, the facts can go really corny, and that's what these cases are, and that's the way it goes. And she resisted, and then what happened is, after a point of time, she said that she gave away, okay. Now she gave away and faked an orgasm just to ensure that the entire process ends as soon as possible. She also mentioned, we are all aware of this famous Nirbhaya rape case, this 2013 amendment that took place, Justice Verma panel report, and there was this change in the law, etc. Post that. So now what happens is, that court said that, in an act of passion, at times no doesn't mean a no. Now we all are adult individuals, we all understand when it's no is a no and when it's not a no. But under the circumstances, and the very point of instance, when the woman tried and she said that, what, I just felt if I don't give away myself at that given point of time, she was so powerful, I might not be living a life post that, and Nirbhaya thing came into existence, because in Nirbhaya, the lady was brutally raped.
Yes.
And then this iron shots and some deadly weapons were lodged into the private part of the woman, and that brutality led to the death of the woman, of course. Right. So therefore, now the court said no. Now the fact that you gave it away and you said no, at times no is not a no. No means it's a yes. And then it went on the thing. So now you understand, right? So how the law has always kind of promulgated in terms of male entitlement or male experience of life. Please, Anjali, please.
So I just have a question. So basically they're saying that because she ended up just saying yes because she wanted to save her life, I mean, sort of, since she was scared that had she continued to resist, it would have resulted in a worse scenario. So they're saying that yes was not actually,
yes.
It was a yes.
And they try to convert it into the literal sense of the word, like the phrase that she said, and right. That is bizarre. That is bizarre, because law is an agent of social control, yes, but the law cannot be absolute, because laws and flaws will come together. You can always use your discretion. Now, what is discretion? Discretion cannot be like an arbitrary discretion. Discretion should be in the form of wisdom.
Right.
So you cannot use the law and use the discretion given to you in favor of the man in such a way that, you just take away everything out of the facts and circumstances of the case and just put it. And that's what good lawyers do, good defense lawyers do as well. So, and that's what they're paid for as well. But that's besides the point. But then, of course, subsequently, there was this review and the person was punished. But then the whole point is the decision also came through at one point of time. We cannot take that away.
Correct.
And it was a decision by probably Justice Hope there was there, and there was this another, I'm just forgetting the name right now. So yeah. So again, that is bizarre. But one good thing that has happened, Anjali, sorry, before you just, interact. Post the 2013 Nirbhaya, one real good thing that has happened is previously, the entire quotient of rape was very narrowed down. It was all about penetration of the male sexual organ into the female private part. But after Nirbhaya, they realized that, penetration need not be only in the private part, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, penetration need not always be just the male organ. It can be something else as well.
Right.
So if insertion is the criteria, then you cannot just narrow it down to just one particular part of the body. It can be anything. Now, the only part is, if the woman is consenting to something, there is no harm in it. But if the woman is not consenting to it, yeah, so it's 50 shades of grey. No, it's 50 shades of total darkness. And you should be behind the box. Yeah.
I agree with you. In fact, we have another very hot question coming in. So this is, sir, kindly throw some light in regard to marital rape in the same context.
Again, so there is this case of independent thought, all right? This is a registered society and they've appealed a few years down the line. Now, Anjali, there is this particular act which we call the Poxo Act. P-O-C-S-O. So yes. Prevention of offense, child and this thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So in this case, one of my former students, Aman, she helped me out as well, because since I was off touch with this thing for the longest time, and some of my people whom I can see right now online, they know that, I'm a little bit off the touch for the longest time, and good to see all of them here present, like quite a few of them.
Good crowd today.
Sorry?
Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm glad. So yeah, so there's some lovely people whom I really love and adore. Anyway, so now coming back to the point of the independent thought. Now the same rape laws, that one I'm talking about, is in section 375 of IPC. Now again, like I said, chuck the law here and the section name. What happens is, previously, there was this anomaly that still remains to be there. It's not like it's totally gone from the statute book yet, but it will, for sure. So, if a husband has a wife who is less than 15 years of age, less than 15, and he engages into sexual intercourse, it's rape. It's another story altogether that, that majority issue, and there is something called void marriage, and there is something called voidable marriage. Okay, so that is again another legality. Let's not get there. That's another civil jurisdiction totally. So now what happens is, marital rape as an offense per se has not yet been taken care of by the judiciary. There has been instances when marital rape has been brought under the ambit of cruelty with respect to in-laws and husband's family and this thing. Those things were there. There is other elements as well, but not under rape laws. Now, independent thought as a case looked into the age part. Why? Because it was contradicting with the Poxo Act. Now, Poxo Act says that anyone who is less than 18, 18 साल से कम हो जिनका उम्र, that person will be treated as someone who is a minor.
Right.
But under the penal laws, it was like a woman between 15 to 18 years of age also, that person can be subjugated to sexual intercourse, and yet it will not be rape. Now, the funny part is, of course, or let me put it, I say this in class as well, funny and pun, so it's funny, like this I often say to my, this thing. So, the
18, if you're married, then you're not protected, is it? Is that
yeah, so therefore, even if you're married, now, I don't know if you've seen that particular, this thing on Hotstar, this criminal justice. So there was...
I will, if you suggest it.
Yeah, so it kind of course, it delved into that particular issue. It was about unnatural sex and this thing. Again, that's unnatural sex is no longer unnatural. But anyway, so now coming back, marital rape has not been taken care of. So again, the whole point is, the moment you have gotten married, you are the property of the husband. And under the Hindu ceremonies, there is this particular concept called Kanyadan. A very
Yes.
dear friend of mine, yeah, so she had said, so there's a Bengali movie on that as well. So this is how a female priest, she starts doing the rituals, and she being a female herself, and she's been born and brought up by a father who was very upright and who was a priest. And she said that, you're not a commodity. You're my daughter. You're a human being. And therefore, I'm not giving dan, or I'm not, gifting you to someone. Like, you are not a, so it's not like, but it's a car or a mobile phone or a pen that you're gifting, that, this is a pen that belongs to you, take it. No. Now, this Kanyadan as a concept in itself is wrong. Because if I have, like, a daughter someday or this thing, I mean, why will I, like, gift because she is a human being made of flesh and blood. And for heaven's sake, I'm born to a mother, my mom. I mean, she is a human being of flesh and blood. And it just gives me shudders to think that, when I look into it from a understanding how the patriarchal institution and everything was during that time and age, that even she was treated as a commodity at one given point of time. And my grandfather had to, like, part ways with her, with his daughter, which is my mother. In the point of view of, I'm gifting my daughter to you, it's not a daughter, but a commodity to you.
Now we have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have a question which I think is extremely interesting, and will sort of force us to face a few brutal facts, which is, why are the laws not getting strict for the offenders after all the incidents which have happened in the recent past?
Now, the point is, why I fear giving this answer on a more blatant and honest note is, somewhere, my honesty is also curbed. Because the answer to this is not only legal, it's socio-political. So I would prefer not to choose this platform as some kind of a political debate. So, but all of you are adults enough, people who are questioning. Some of you are smart enough to understand the loopholes and the pros and cons of the previous government, or this, whatever it is, this government, whichever way you call it. Now, let me tell you, when it comes to punishing, there is this form of punishment called deterrent theory of punishment. So it should be so harsh that, you will not you will not be willing to commit that same crime again in your life. And the punishment given will be so harsh that other people seeing that will dare not commit that crime in future. Because, oh my God, this person is getting this level of punishment for this kind of an act, I will not do it. But honestly, Anjali, let me tell you, this has not quite worked. After Nirbhaya, trust me, the law has changed, the quantum of punishment has made higher and higher, a person's natural life, etc., etc. Post Nirbhaya, even a lady judge was raped in one of the Mufassal courts. There are reports which says that, the incidence of rape has not gone down. So we really don't know this normative changes, how much difference do they actually make in social control and the social enterprise. Because in a country like India, we call unity and diversity, but trust me, even when we speak, I don't know how far and how much are we entitled to our free speech, which is again guaranteed as a right under the Constitution itself. Now, why the law has not changed? Honestly, there has been many crusaders who have been fighting for this. There have been many important decisions that was Naftej Johar, that particular judgment of 377. Delhi High Court put it in a particular way, but it was again subsequently reversed, and then, of course, it was taken into consideration later. So there is a lot of socio-political undercurrents that goes through. And also, like I say always, something very important, education does not mean enlightenment.
It doesn't.
I might have the best of doctorate degrees, maybe triple doctor, double masters, whatever it is on Mother Earth. That doesn't mean that, I will be having a sense of understanding in my conscious or subconscious, which will be progressive and not regressive. So to bring those changes, my friend, whoever you ask this question, is a very important question, good question that you asked. It will take time, because like it took time, but at the end of the day, 497 is gone. Like, your questions are answered. Like that way, 377 is gone now. And of course, gay marriage is still a contention. That's another point. Marital rape, probably this will also, but it will take time, because the society needs to grow. And with time, things will fall into place. But yeah, it's tough there.
Dramatic comment being made, and this is from one of my group of people. So this is Dr. Krish says, laws are for the poor. What are your comments on that?
Laws are for the
poor is what he says.
For the poor.
Yeah, he says laws are for the poor. How would you like to respond to that?
I mean, I really don't know how to put it for the poor. I mean, poor as in P-O-O-R, is it?
As in poor. See, okay, let me give you a little bit of context, Roy. Dr. Krish is somebody I've had on a show of mine earlier, and which is called At a Crossroads. So where I have a conversation usually with young people who tend to find themselves conflicted in terms of taking decisions as to whether to pursue their career or to pivot into entrepreneurship or to, pursue passion versus profession, those kind of things. So I usually, I have a ad hoc show like that called At a Crossroads. So Dr. Krish was a guest on this show, and we are scheduled to follow up. So Dr. Krish is actually not yet a fully practicing doctor. He is yet to do his exams, but is very close to doing it. And I think he has a year or two left before he becomes a full-fledged doctor. But the context of this is that he wants to, he can feel free to contradict me, but this is my recollection of our conversation, is that he believes that he wants to, he was asking me rather that instead of finishing and becoming a doctor and making a salary that he felt was not enough to get him to the monetary goals that he wanted to get to, he wanted to know if he should pivot into entrepreneurship at this point in time. So my feedback to him was that he needs to get credibility, and that it would serve him better to finish becoming a doctor and then choose to go into entrepreneurship if he felt like it, and not, didn't have to end up practicing, and so on and so forth. So Dr. Krish's background tends to, he's very passionate about making money. He's very, his opinion of success is that he wants to have a Lamborghini very fast, and he feels his doctor's salary will not get him there. So while I don't want to digress into that conversation, so that's the context of his comment saying laws are for the poor. So Dr. Krish is someone who thinks that people who do not have money don't have access to a lot of things that people who have money do. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that, but I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so okay, so this is nothing to do with the topic, but then Dr. Trish, so good to hear about you. That's so enterprising, and this thing. So probably we'll crossroads someday. But having said that, probably what you're referring to being laws are for the poor is more to do with the income tax laws that you're talking about, or the company laws that you're talking about.
No. I think let me correct. Let me interject on his behalf. Dr. Krish's point is basically he feels that only poor people get caught by the law and the rich are above it. So it's a slightly more generic kind of comment. So I would like
Now I get your question. Now look, as true that I agree to certain extent, especially the financial laws, the blue collar and the white collar crimes, and look at the Modi, the Vijay Malias and Ketan Parekh, Harshat Mehtas, and so many of things. By Modi, I mean Lalit Modi. So please get it correct. Indian Premier League and all of that. Yeah. So I think that kind of sorted. Yeah. Now you see what happens is judiciary can be unfair at times and can be extremely fair at times too. You see, at the end of the day, there's something called judicial bias. Let's get it very straight. At the end of the day, we're running on three wings of the government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary.
Yeah.
It is a fact that money brings in a lot of power. There is no two ways about that. And you can buy a lot of stuff in life with with money, and of course, uh, justice being one of them. Now, it is sad, but it is also true. But having said that, it is not something that can be told in absolutism. That is also incorrect. Why? Because there are enough instances of extradition treaties and taking place to ensure that the defaulters come back to India with respect to the financial laws were extremely rich and everything. There have been a lot of incidents these days where the poorer section of the society, there is legal aid camps that are going on, and the law, and even the universities and these young students, they're taking a huge amount of initiative to bring that into the foray. There is this Right to Information Act through which now you can question the credibility of a particular decision making. So what you're saying, I agree to it partly, but not in totality. You have a point here, but it's not absolute, my friend. I mean, as much cynical as I can be, but let's also give it that, there are good people everywhere. Like I always say, it's not about caste, creed, religion, sex, region. It's about the person. A person is a good person, be it a judge, be it a doctor, be it a lawyer, whosoever it is, in which part of the country he or she is.
No, I think I agree with you as well, because I want to switch to the next question, which is extremely interesting actually, which comes with, sir, please talk about legal remedies available in India with respect to extramarital affairs, how to seek relief with respect to it other than getting divorce.
Okay, now if your girlfriend is seeing this, I'm sure your marriage is at jeopardy for sure. So now she knows it very well that, what are you up to once you get married. Now that's one part of the story. And the other part of the story, you're excused.
Go ahead.
So yeah, so look, first and foremost, there is a social angle to this, and there is a legal angle to this. As far as the legal remedy goes, of course, extramarital affair can lead to divorce.
Sorry.
You need to be careful, all right? I know the things, what's to be done during COVID. So if you want, I can tell you post this thing.
It's not COVID at all. It's not COVID at all.
So yeah, touch wood, it will never be also. You're doing such great work, you need to be fit and fine. Yeah. So now what happens is, so there is, of course, this element of divorce that you can always seek in civil jurisdiction. That's besides the point. Now, at the very first instance, extramarital affair is also can be brought into the ambit of cheating.
Adultery.
Not in express terms, because for this I need to get into the Bare Act and say how it can be. So there is this Bare Act. When you do the reading of the Bare Acts, what happens is there's this huge provisions and sections, and those sections are either like conjoined with words like notwithstanding, which is a non-obstante clause in legal parlance, or like usage of the word comma, or, and. So in a legal text, no, even a comma, or, and, all this has got immense significance.
Got it.
So I don't have the Bare Act right now. I would have probably read that out, and I would have ensured, because this is something that I used to discuss in class as well, that what are the possible remedies. And there was this one particular student who came up with this thing even before me. I told her. So that was something that was really interesting. So remedies in terms of course, divorce, that's there. And of course, under the penal law, there are various other ways you can look into it. So that's definitely there.
So, I mean, this is, I'm going to quickly take a response from my side, Roy, to Mr. Dr. Chris says, in India, most crimes goes in favorable for the rich people and for the contacts or surroundings of people who are in high social economic lifestyle. That's how it is in India. Now, this is a very, very reductionist, extremely generic, I mean, it's a very blanket judgment. I have no doubt that people are watching Netflix and watching what was, the way the media is starting to what was that series? What was that? Billionaire Bad Boys, was it? I think. So I mean,
Uh,
there's no doubt that there is the Malia situation or the Nirav Modi situation, but I would not go as far as to say that our justice system is so poor and so lax that it discriminates wholeheartedly between the rich and the poor. I think that's an extremely reductionist point. I think we've come a long way from
we
where
have come a
we.
long way. I totally concur with you, Anjali, here because, of late in the recent past, like I told you, some of the judgments which has come through, these are amazing, amazing judgments. I mean, come on, at the end of the day, these judgments have been passed and it is
Right.
by the judiciary only. So, yeah, I mean, let's not get so reductionist to the point that, total cynicism is not good either. So there
Yeah.
has to be a balance.
I think we do, like I said, there are some people who are sort of, it's not an absolute situation. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's not at all. But I have another question that had come up for you earlier, which was, yes. So can uniform civil code help achieve more equality with respect to gender, irrespective of religion?
First and foremost, before anything, because Uniform Civil Code was discussed in Soumitra Vishnu versus Union of India, Veeravati versus Union of India, and n number of cases. So many petitions have been filed in the form of writs. Look, when giving this answer in a country like India, whom we call unity in diversity, and the socio-political, economical structure is so diverse, no matter how many civil codes you bring into the system, first and foremost, it's our mindset that needs to change. And let me tell you, it is very difficult to change a mindset because if I also try to change my mindset about a particular thing, which I realize probably in this day and age is quite patriarchal and I shouldn't be, I have to literally battle and fight with myself and say that, no, this is wrong. This is exactly it should not be. So unless the person is taking that conscious effort to change his own mind or her own mind towards the system, आप जितना भी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो under the sun, believe me, our constitution is taken from various countries including USA, Australia, Canada, etc., etc. But are we sticking by it in every possible circumstances? And the judgments being stuck in every possible circumstances, we're abiding by it. So therefore, how can you expect in a country like India when there's so much divide purely on the basis of religion, for heaven's sake? So basically, Uniform Civil Code comes into the picture. Why I'm telling you, why the question has been asked, Anjali, because what happens is when it comes to conversion. So, as per Islam, you can get married multiple number of times, right? So as a result of which, what happens is somebody who is a Hindu, he gets married once, he's married, now he converts into Islam.
We have some
Now he gets
actors who have done this, yes?
right. Now, as per the personal laws, he's immune. But will he be immune? So to that, this entire came, the Uniform Civil Code, the entire concept, no, it's to bring about harmony and unity. My friend, you're right. I mean, it can do wonders. It definitely can. But believe me, it's not about the law when you're looking for a social transformation or change. It's about a crusade. It's about a movement that will happen probably gradually, consciously, and then subsequently, suddenly there will be a decision like the Nafiyat Johar or Joseph Shine. And because, something very interesting. In one of the judgments, I stand corrected on this to all my fellow friends from the law fraternity because as I'm a little bit off touch with this thing, in one of the judgments, probably Joseph Shine, I stand corrected again, I reiterate. It is said that, it doesn't matter how much respect you're giving to your spouse, your wife, inside the four walls of your drawing room or a bedroom or this thing. It is how much respect you're giving to your spouse when you are standing in the balcony of a common space of a flat or a house.
Right.
If that equity is not there, then it means it's equivalent to double standards or hypocrisy.
Sure. Sure.
So if that doesn't change, because we are all, you, me, you are in Chennai, I'm in Calcutta, there are people from all across India, one of them, a couple of them from across the globe, like my known person. So the whole point here is wherever you're sitting, wherever, because law is dynamic. Law cannot be a constant law. It has to change with time, place, space, everything. If there is that own gradual change, you cannot bring in anything that will probably, you can forcefully coerce, but coercive tendencies tend to go wrong also. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, this sounds good. And, while we have a lot of people listening in, we are running out of time. But what I wanted to actually ask you, Roy, is if we can have a follow-up session, because I have a lot of questions here and a lot of students of yours who seem to be missing your class. And
Oh my God.
because I've been watching the comments as you've been speaking, and they say they're feeling so much like they're attending IPC classes in the year 2018. Someone says IPC class in 2014. They say they feel nostalgia. They say they miss you. They say it is just, and I can tell you, I am also, I'm a non-law person, but I'm absolutely riveted. One, as a social being. Second, as somebody who wants to create change in this country. And third, as a woman who wants to understand her own rights if I am to continue to live and navigate this dynamic scenario over here. So would you be open to doing a follow-up session with me, and maybe turn this into a series? Because I mean, I have not seen this kind of a riveting attendance without even wavering in a very, very long time. And especially we're living in Zoom times, and times when everyone with the fatigue of being online and being in these virtual sessions is so heavy that usually we never see this kind of attendance. So there's obviously a lot of people out there who want to hear what you have to say, and we've definitely, and I know we've barely scratched the surface on a subject that is burning right now. And I personally myself have a lot of questions on Nirbhaya, the way it played out, and if you feel that has, not to use the word justice loosely, but has justice been served in the right way?
Right.
Been served, and will it continue to be, or do we have to continue to see more of the same thing? Or we have people on the other end of the spectrum like Krish, who believe that money dictates everything, which is also not entirely accurate. And then all of your students who want to definitely delve deeper into, because there is the woman who definitely needs to, I think, become more knowledgeable about her position. And then we have men. I believe that there are men who are, like you said yourself, whose mindsets are so deeply entrenched in patriarchy, not because necessarily maybe their own fault, but maybe that's how they've been raised, and that's their mindset, and how do they sort of evolve from it, which is one way of looking at it. And then there are the men who want to be allies to the women. And where are these men, and how can they be further empowered to spread the message of knowledge as opposed to regression? So we would love to move towards progression together, but we do have to wrap up because we have hit the golden 1 hour mark, and I don't want to lose the audience. So listening to him is a priority over IPL, is what IG Ashu says. Do you know who IG Ashu is?
IG, I mean, of course, I know Ashutosh. I believe that. I mean, of course, it's been like more than 2 years now. This thing, of course, he's a very dear and he's a very young, bright, and enlightened guy.
This person has sparked, Atul Anand says, this person has sparked love for criminal law in his students like me. So please have a follow-up session, ma'am. 100%, Atul, Mr. Atul Anand, it would be my pleasure to have Roy with me again. Let us, I will try to get his time in the next few days, and we will re-announce a follow-up session with him. And Roy, can I go ahead and request them to DM me their questions so I can have them ready for you for our next...
Yeah, sure. Why not? Sure.
Who is listening to us right now, we have 51 people. I can tell you the number has not dropped. So we have 51 people, and...
Anjali, can I just cut you down once? Yeah. This is for all those who were there, Atul and Ashu and everyone. I mean, it's been years, it's been a long time. And, all love from Roy to all of you all. I mean, I really love you people, and all that I am and all that you people have given me is a reflection of what I am today. So thank you for the love, the encouragement and support. And I really miss you people too. Trust me. I'm not over exaggerating. I miss you guys. Lots of love to all of you.
I think we've found something, we've struck gold here. We've found something very exciting. And this is a great platform. And guys, I would be happy to, so for they want a session once a week. I say, I completely agree. I think we can do a once a week session for sure. And we will name it something interesting. And I will put this, obviously this will be going up on IGTV and I'll be sharing it with Roy as well, who will be sharing it on his Instagram as well. And we will put this up across platforms. So let's try and do this. Let's all you guys who are tuned in right now, please go ahead and start DMing me your questions. I will go ahead and look at Roy's schedule and have the next session planned as soon as possible. Anushka is extremely excited and says yes with multiple S's. So I think we have you have another, and you can add me to your fan club now.
Oh, come on. I'm your fan.
You can. So let's go ahead and do that, Roy, and let's share. I would like to, thank you for giving me the opportunity to have you as a guest. And now, due to popular demand, we will have this as a recurring show, and we'll try to see how far we can take this, and hopefully answer all of the questions, because we are very, very backed up on questions.
Sure. No, it is my absolute pleasure to be interacting with you, and so that's been an absolute pleasure for me. And I genuinely say this from the bottom of my heart, Anjali. I mean, you're such an excellent speaker. The way you talk is just riveting, and it's so nice, really.
So glad we found this great chemistry. So this is Roy, this is Anjali, this is women empowerment, this is legal, this is India, this is breaking reductionism and hopefully going towards the light. So with that, I will bid you all good night. Much love to you, Roy, and I will be seeing you next week for sure with hopefully even more guests. And guys, don't forget to DM me your questions for next week's session. All right?
Bye-bye. See you.